Hello, my name is Dr. Ford. I'm going to go over commonly added sugars that are used in foods. So sugars there's 3 macronutrients in foods that give you energy: carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. Sugars are very loosely termed, formerly known as saccharides, and there's 6 simple sugars called monosaccharides: glucose, fructose, galactose, maltose, sucrose, lactose. And those are very simply made, meaning glucose is going to be the sugar that's in your blood. You can actually add glucose to food to sweeten it up. You actually have an enzyme in your saliva to help break that down. It goes straight into your blood. So if you are really low blood sugar, you're going to give someone really easy to digest simple sugars to make sure that their blood sugar can elevate, so we can keep their brain and their body functioning. So other common sugars that are added is sucrose, which is actually a disaccharide made of glucose and fructose. So glucose and fructose are 2 monosaccharides. You put them together, you make a disaccharide. So table sugar, you can actually digest beyond the saliva, but it goes quickly into your blood. It's glycolysis. It creates some energy, or ATP, and it's super easy to do in the body. It's super quick. It doesn't lead to long-lasting energy. It's quick. It's easy to burn. Sucrose is your table sugar packets that you could put in tea or coffee. Sucrose is a lot of times added to foods, and that's called your added sugars, and you would see that on the ingredient list. So a table packet of sugar, like something that you would shake, if you still shake, has about 5 grams. A serving of sugar is about, if you're like the diabetic exchange, is about 15 grams. So 15 grams is kind of this agreeable measurement that we have counted as a portion of sugar. So if you have added sugar in foods above 20 to 25 grams a day, consistently over time, that can increase your risk of chronic disease. So the dietary recommendation is to keep your added sugar less than, if you're eating around 2,000 calories, less than 10% of that, which is about 20 grams of added sugar a day. So if you read your food labels, things that are automatically out based upon that recommendation is soda. Soda, or sugar sweetened beverages, happen to be the most consumed ultra processed food in the United States. And they're easy, they're quick, and sugar can have this dopamine effect where it feels really good. Other added sugars besides soda: high fructose corn syrup. High fructose corn syrup is definitely something that gets a really bad rep, but what happened is sucrose became a little bit more expensive. So food industry, the companies, they figured out a way, if they wanted to make more profit, you have to cut costs. So they created high fructose corn syrup, which is basically sucrose plus fructose. So now, instead of just having sucrose, now you're adding a little bit more fructose, about 55%. The problem with that is your liver is the one that digests fructose. So overexposure over time, you can affect your liver with having high fructose corn syrup. So if you have a serving of high fructose corn syrup one time, once a month, your liver is able to handle that. It's probably not the best, but it's okay. Your body's really resilient. It's that consistent exposure over time when you use sauces or you use packaged foods that use this as a sweetener. It can affect your liver's health. Other common sugars that are added into food: corn syrup, dextrose, maltose, glucose, fructose, lactose, honey, nectar, turbinado sugar, beet sugar, cane juice, cane sugar, date sugar, coconut sugar, brown sugar, maple syrup, molasses, raw sugar, palm sugar, rice syrup, caramel sometimes, fruit juice concentrate, golden syrup, invert sugar, and sour gum syrup. Whew, that's a lot. And so sometimes people say, oh, well, I use honey. So enough honey, a serving of honey, can still give you about 15 grams of added sugar. It would need to be a lot of honey over time to affect your metabolic rate, to affect potentially diabetes risk. A lot of times people will say, well, I'm eating a lot of rice, that's going to affect my risk of diabetes. Well, rice is going to be a polysaccharide, and white rice and brown rice do have nutrition properties, but just because it's white rice doesn't mean you're going to get diabetes. That's a really loose association, technically inaccurate, but I see what the intention is coming behind it. And that came from keto type of styles where people said carbohydrates were bad. And I think we're kind of coming out of that, but sometimes you still see extremists follow a keto lifestyle for weight management. Now, if you're looking at neurology, sometimes keto can be really effective because the way that your brain works, sometimes reducing the speed of neurological connections, reducing how your brain works, meaning reducing the energy that it uses, it slows down typically on ketones, which is a byproduct of fatty acid breakdown. So if you're using that as fuel, you're not going to have added sugars at all. If you're wanting to just generally watch health is a pillar of your life, not the pillar. Paying attention to what foods have added sugars, and then maybe choosing a brand or a style that doesn't have as much added sugars. I would try to keep a serving less than 5 to 7 grams. That's really low. If it's up to 12 to 15 in one serving, you're close to your day's worth of added sugar. So pay attention to packaged foods that you're having. Pay attention to what kinds of foods you're adding into casseroles and dishes, and choose foods that don't have as much added sugar if possible. Hope this helps.